all built in JavaScript and another computer language called WebGL. This guy documented a whole abandoned warehouse in Paris where it was an agency actually, an agency really loved the graffiti in a warehouse they were buying, so they decided to create an interactive tour using JavaScript of the building where you can click on all the graffiti and find out more about the artist, and you can literally just walk around the building, which is pretty incredible for a web browser. A bit like online computer games, if I may. You can move around. I think you can even run if you hold down Shift, which is pretty incredible, I think. Highly advanced, all built in JavaScript. graffitigeneral.com if you want to check it out later. So this is going to be quite out there, but the first part is called a variable. And a variable basically means an object, so it could be anything. It could be, let's take the example I often use is a cup of coffee. So you declare a variable, say like var, you'd call it coffee cup, and then you'd equal whatever you want your object to have as properties. So a coffee cup would be, what is it? It would be a drink. And then you can add more properties in the variable. Temperature, hot, material, excuse my poor handwriting, I'm left-handed, porcelain, etc., etc. So the first step in writing JavaScript, this is quite out there, but would be declaring the objects that you're going to use in your program and giving them the properties that you will require in your program. And once you've declared all your variables, all your objects, you would want to manipulate them in your coding script. So the next thing you would do, it would probably be write a function, and then it uses curly brackets like that. And inside there, you could say, I'm going to create a new function called drink coffee. And then in there, I would iterate all the things that I would need. So I would say, hand grabs handle, elbow folds, mouth opens, cup tips. These would all be part of your action function that you would declare in there. I'm going to get off this subject because this is probably confusing you a lot. But the next thing you have is a array, A-R-A-Y, which is a kind of like a database. It's a list of objects. So if you have too many objects and you need to find a way to call them amongst, say you had 1,000, you'd want them in a specific list, organized so that you could then call them into your function and use them and manipulate them, change them, reorder them. So that's the next one. And those are kind of like the main three principles, but we're not going to cover that too much. But I thought I'd introduce it because we're a bit ahead of schedule here. Something to think about and read up on. If you guys want to find out more about web development, I suggest you use the website called W3 Schools. W3 Schools. These guys are called the World Wide Web Consortium. So think of it as the biggest geeks in the world who are on a forum and who decide the standards for how the web is going to work. So if we need something new, like when mobile phones came out, this whole new thing of responsive design came out, and these guys had to think of a way to write the code to make websites adapt for mobile. And it's 100% free. All the tutorials are excellent on here as an introduction. I mean, I remember spending a whole day on these myself when I was about 18, and everything really clicked. It's like, oh, it makes more sense, makes more sense. So you'd start at the top here with the HTML one, and it gives you all of these lovely examples. So let's choose one, an HTML paragraph. And then you can do the try it yourself over here. So this is kind of interpreting, if you pretend that this area here is your web browser, and then this is your source code. So if I type it here, this is Archie's paragraph, and I run it, it'll come out in my what's called the web render. So it's a really nice place to do some exercises and practice. So I recommend that. It goes through HTML, all the different elements that you can place on the page, and then up here you can just navigate to the next section, and then you can learn all about the CSS selectors and how to manipulate elements that are on the web page. As I said earlier, make them beautiful, style them up, and then if you're really interested, you can get deep with the JavaScript, which is very complex to learn, but if you're a smart cookie and you excel at this, you're going to be on a very good track to making a lot of money throughout your career. So definitely worth a look if you're interested. Cool. Let's continue with this then. So I touched on those with you guys. CMS, Content Management System. These are really useful if you have a lot of private clients when you're starting up your new business and you did like 3-4 websites for your new free clients. Say one of them was a restaurant, and you said, Archie, I need a way to be able to log in to the home page and change the menu every day. If you've written it just in code, he's not going to be able to do that. So this is where CMS systems come in, content management systems. The main one I use is built in a language, in a server-side language called PHP. This one's again different to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript because it's hidden in the browser. It's a language that works on the server, but when the files get rendered in the browser, you will never ever see any PHP rendered in there. It's the language that's used for web security a lot, so if you had passwords, sensitive data, login information, tokens for access, these would all mostly be stored in the PHP language. Server-side language, hidden from the front-end user, stores secure data. And this is the computer language that WordPress, which is the #1 content management system in the world, is built on. I'm sure some of you must have heard of it. People use it a lot for blogging nowadays. But you don't just have a blog in WordPress, you can download the source files from WordPress, upload them to your own web server, and build a fully custom website that's completely editable in the back end by your customers without you being there. They can publish their own data. So it's a really nice add-on. You can do a static website, but if they need to update their own content, then this is what you would use. Joomla is another one. Magento is another very complex one that's used for e-commerce, selling goods online. I'm just going to show you quickly, just so that it kind of makes sense, what a WordPress dashboard looks like, a content management system. So if I go back to my website, this one's actually fully built in WordPress as well. So this is the front end of the website. Now if I go to my login page, you can see I've got my username and my password. I'm actually logging in to the back end of the website, as it's known as. And then, instead of writing loads of code, these can be organized in architecture for the clients to be able to update the data themselves. So for example, my contact page here, so here's my telephone number. If I add an extra 1 on the end, and I save that, and I go back to my front end of the website, contact page, It's messed it up a bit, but you can see there's an extra one there on the end. So these are really useful for customers to update their own business, and WordPress is still something I work on a lot in today's projects. I think I had a stat, I can't remember if it's 17 or 29, but WordPress powers 17 or 29% of the internet. So it's a really powerful tool. Also has some great plugins for SEO in here. This is called the WordPress Yoast SEO. So what this enables you to do is to add in the metadata and the keywords so that you start ranking in the right places on Google. So for example, I can edit here what my Google snippet looks like, which is awesome. I can make all of this personalized for the Google listing. So I could think about my target audience. Who's going to be looking for a web developer in London? I don't know, you could use something like this in your title. Contact one of London's most passionate web developers. And as you can see, it's going to update how my Google listing is going to appear in Google, with the ultimate aim of trying to get your page to #1 for a specific keyword. It's pretty cool. Also gives you readability analysis, legibility, using short sentences, not too many transitions, words. Does all sorts of tests like that, which are really great. And then a general introduction to